Hey guys, Grassman here. Today this is a different video. We're looking at the mechanics of the order of the pieces. So we're not building some ship, we're just using simple ships to look at the order of the pieces and how they affect. So as you can see here, I've got an empty block, it's shooting this much. I'm going to be using the same captain and everything the whole game. So you don't have to worry about that. Map 0, how much damage are we doing? We're doing 14, lowest and highest. So we're doing consistent 14. Now, testing what happens when we add 1 damage. Now we are doing consistent 15. Now if we add a split thing, or an extra bullet, does this affect anything? Well, first, let's add the extra bullet here. So adding an extra bullet, will an extra bullet alone affect anything? Now shooting twice as many bullets? No, it's still consistent 14. Now if we add a damage, still consistent 15. Now, what happens if we switch these? If we make this a damage, and this one the extra bullet? Well, one of two things is going to happen. Either they're both going to say 15 damage, because the extra bullet will pick up the things that the first one had, or one's going to do 15, and the other from the extra bullet isn't going to pick up the extra damage and is going to do 14, in which case the lowest will be 14 and the highest will be 15. We can test. So, let's see what happens. And both 15. So that means that the extra bullet didn't just start with 14 damage, it gained the extra one. It also did gain all the damage that the projectile generator gets. As you can see here, the generator adds 5 damage through my hexagon. So here it is still getting that 5 damage. Meaning the adding an additional projectile does take the extra damage and things it gets from behind here. The other thing to look at is this. Chance of 10% to clone projectile instead of adding one. I don't know what this means. Cloning projectile, I don't know what the clone means. Maybe that means if there's like actually 3 projectiles there, it'll actually turn it to 6, 10% of the time. I'm not sure. This one confuses me, because it is already cloning the projectile. It is picking up things from behind. So that was the main thing. A couple other things I wanted to look at. If we take a bigger ship, so let's test like this. This should make every bullet do 16 damage. And it does. Remove that, it'll do 15. Now let's look what these do. So 15. And yeah, it does still do 15. So the splitter doesn't remove any damage, which is what I expected. We can also add in a turn feature. Now the highest projectile damage should be 20, and the lowest is going to be 5 less, because I do have this turn thing activated. So left turns, which is this one, is going to do more. And correct. Lowest projectile damage is 15, and highest is 20. So far, we know that these do clone the projectile, they don't just add one, and these things don't reduce damage. Now we're just going to keep testing things. There's some other things that I don't know much about. These things. I haven't used, like, any of these things. Projectiles attract each other. Let's figure out what this one does. They attract each other. At the moment, they're curving left. So I'm not quite sure why. So it seems like they're just going towards the other projectiles. So you can see they're like curving to where the other projectiles are. So if I go over this way, they're going to start curving. And they're not curving right, they are just occasionally curving left. So I'm still not sure what that one does. A better idea might actually be to have it split into 3. Have it attract here, and then put in turns. We're also going to do some other experimenting with, like, the AoE stuff. So they're attracted to each other. They are, like, moving towards each other, which just makes some interesting patterns. What about the align their direction? Yeah, I don't know what this one does. We'll try a different ship. I didn't mean to win there. Let's try a different ship. What's one with multiple firing ports? Multiple firing directions? This one. Right off the bat, split it both ways. So first, what happens if we use the attracting ones? Well, they're starting to make a bunch of weird curving patterns as they're trying to pull toward... So they're going sideways and they're being pulled back by those bullets sitting back there. So that didn't go well. They started getting pulled backwards by the other bullets. What about aligning their direction? Well, that's interesting. Let's try that again. So they started out going sideways, and then they very quickly all started going forward, and they've aligned their directions. They're just crossing now. That's actually a very interesting one. That's kind of like that's like a railgun. Just charges up and then all at once. That's actually very interesting. So that's what the align one does. Attraction to line in front of ship. So what is this one going to do here? Doesn't seem to be doing anything with that ship. Let's try going back to our other one. So as you see, now I'm moving to the left, to the right, and they're being pulled right. If I clear it, so they're being pulled to in front of my ship. So I can make them curve. So those are all quite interesting ones. What else is there to test? Something else we can test is these. So does the AoE work? So if I have AoE here, and then I add an extra bullet. So naturally, what's the damage with the AoE? 13. Now what's the damage with this? So as you can see, it does pick up the AoE. Each time, 2 layers are being deleted. So I'll show you again. So if you look at just the one bullet, the one layer gets deleted each time, because there's one bullet. There's one bullet, and it's destroying the 2 on its side as well. With the extra bullet, both are being AoE. Each of them are destroying... Each bullet is destroying 2 lines. So it does keep the AoE ability as well. Is there any other ability we need to test? So it keeps the AoE ability. It keeps its damage. We can try bounce. I assume it'll keep the bounce. Yep. Both bullets are bouncing. So the add projectile does keep abilities. So for a more complicated ship, like this, it doesn't matter what we have first. I've got the AoE first, a second AoE here. I've got the bounce, pierce a block, and then add damage. It doesn't matter. Now, as for the add damage, these ones I believe it does actually matter. You want damage happening first. Because for these ones... So that's another interesting thing. Now let's test... This is an idea I just had. Let's test the cross mechanic. So our base damage again should be 14. Yes. So I need to take a turn here, take a turn there. Is it possible to even do a cross here? It is, yeah. Turn there, so turn there. Turn there. So naturally, what's this damage? This damage is 39. So this time we're getting 39 off per shot, and that's because some of these turns are adding damage. So we're getting 39. This should be doing 14, and it's the left turn that's adding damage. So this is adding 10 each. 10. So that's 14, and then we were adding 25, is 39. Now, if we're adding 10 here, and we put in an add damage, now we should be adding 10 and the 14. So 10 and 14 is 24. Combine that with a 39, we should be doing 63 damage. And there we are, 63. Now that we have our consistent damage, what does this do? Does this add damage? No, it does not. Adding a projectile does not add damage to it. However, this should. 20% of the damage. So it'll be adding 20% of 19 is about 5. So it should go from 36 to adding about 5. So 38? No, it was more than that. Lowest was... so here... Okay, this is interesting. Lowest was 64, highest was 69. So, I think I have a reason for that. 14 and 5 is inconsistent. It's 19. So it's either going to add 4 or it's going to add 5. If it adds 4, so adding 4 or 5 is a difference of 1, and then it's also going to add a difference of 1 here. So that's a difference of 2. I still don't know how that got us to 4 and 9. So let's experiment with this. Base damage we know is 14. How much is this going to do? 14 or 16. So adds 20% of its damage to following projectiles. Seems inconsistent. Adding 20% of its damage to following projectiles, sometimes it seems. Because as you saw, we got a 14, which we shouldn't have been able to get unless it didn't add damage. So this one is inconsistent. Not sure why exactly it's inconsistent. Something else we can test. Let's go to the big alien ship. Let me test my damage with this one. So lowest was 46, highest was 8,350. If I remove these, what happens? 45, and it cuts down from 8,350 to 4,340. I also want to test the chance for extra damage here. Buy a couple more. Can't afford them. So these should be more. These should be more efficient. These ones should be better because they have a 33% chance for double damage. So 3 of them is going to give you double damage. Versus 5 of these will be at 100%, which is double damage. Still only 45 is the lowest, so that would have been when neither triggered at some point. Although overall, that does seem lower as well. We didn't get a bullet doing... Here we got a bullet doing about 8,000. It was still lower. So, what can I say about these? It seems buggy. Let's go back to a ship. Let's keep testing this. So, again, base damage should be 14. Let's just confirm that. Yeah. Let's try one of these. Chance for double damage. I'll hit a bunch. It should be 14 and 28, which it is. If we add 2, it'll be 14, 28 will be the midterm, and the highest one will be 28 times 2, is 56. Yeah, 14 and 56. We also know that this one's inconsistent. So, Now this is what I'm wondering. Where's the inconsistency coming from? It's 14 and 16. Why is it inconsistent? If anyone knows, let me know in the comments. Because, like, 20% of its damage, if it's doing 14 damage, that's adding 2 and that would be adding 2 and 4/5. So it is adding 2. So it is adding 2 to get us up to 16 sometimes, but it says add 20% to following projectiles. So why is the lowest damage actually that low? What if we break one block each time? There it did only 15 at highest. So it seems incredibly inconsistent. 14 and 15. 14, 15. 14, 15. So it's always doing 15. What if I wait longer?
Jack, get off your phone.
Sorry. So interestingly, it went up to 17 here. It seems to be time-based. If I die fast, it does 15. If I die medium speed, now it's 16. If I wait a long time, let's just wait. See what happens. Interesting timing. If I wait longer, let's see how long I can wait, and we'll see what happens when I die at the end. Let's wait as long as I possibly can to see what happens. Is it going to go above 17? No, it stayed at 17. So is it, like, is it exponentially decreasing, increasing attack? Because it was 15, then 16, then 17, and I guess the mission just wasn't long enough that we could get more. So these ones may have some sort of exponentially decreasing increase to attack. These are still confusing, though. If you have any other questions about any of the other pieces, I think I did that. I think I explored most of the pieces there, most of the interesting things. I'll probably like compare percents. These ones are a third chance for double damage. So like for the math on these ones, it's just that double damage is best. A third of a chance for double damage, it means 3 will give you double damage. For these ones, you would need 20 for 10 times damage, which isn't as good. If you, so it's 5 times as much damage, but if you divide 20 by 5, you still need 4 versus 3, so it's less efficient. These ones are, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 9 ones. 9 ones, a 0, a 2, a 3, and a 4. Too many of these will get you too many zeros, so it's not worth it. And these are just too consistent of ones. It's just, these aren't really worth it. Because the chance of 4 is just so rare. It's more likely you'll get 1, but it's just as likely you'll get 0 as you get 4. So these aren't worth it. And these ones are inconsistent. So, I'd say stick with the double damage ones. I gotta go. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Remember to leave your questions in the comments. Feel free to like and subscribe if you enjoy my content, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.